On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley, saying so long and enjoy your evening. Right now, though, Parker and Ryan Dittrick on tonight's Ram post-game show, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
Welcome inside Flames TV Live, the post-game show brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. Parker, Ryan Dittrick here to break down a 5-3 Calgary Flames victory, make it 5 consecutive wins. And if you told us that it would be 5-3 final after 40 minutes, I'm not sure how many would have bought into that program, but things certainly changed after the second intermission, and it changed in a good way for the Calgary Flames. Maybe first, before we break down this game in great detail, lots to go through as Johnny Gaudreau does get his first career 100-point game, but boy, what stands out about a night here tonight at the Saddledome where things shifted in a hurry?
It felt like we were watching 2 very different games out there. I mean, through 40 minutes, you had a walk-off interview with Michael Stone after, and, you know, his words, not mine. That wasn't good enough. That was too much time spent in the defensive zone, not good enough coverage. He highlighted that point too, but, you know, kind of symbolic of the Seattle Kraken season. They opened the door just a little bit in that third period. Frankly, it was an issue for them all night, offensive zone penalties. And what happens when you open the door to elite-level people? That's what happens. That third period right there for the Flames.
Well, it's interesting because you mentioned and pointed out a couple of times the 2 offensive zone penalties that lead to goals. So one of them, obviously, earlier on in the hockey game, makes it a 1-1 hockey game. And then, now 3-1 in the third period, and it ends up shifting the scene here back towards the Calgary Flames again.
Sure, and this power play has been excellent for them all season. I think they came into the night 5th ranked in the NHL, and particularly here on home ice at the Scotiabank Saddledome, very good. But, also, this isn't just a power play that operates very well. It also has a guy by the name of Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, guys that, were knocking on the door of some career highs. One of them gets there. You can't open the door like that, and that's what happens because the guys made them pay. They made good, skilled plays, put the Kraken away.
Well, let's see how it went down as we take a look back at what happened here tonight as the Calgary Flames open a 3-game homestand against the Seattle Kraken, and it would be the Kraken that got on the board first. It was one of the hallmarks of the Calgary Flames on the road trip. They scored first in all 4 games on that roadie. Tonight, though, it's Ryan Donato and Matty Beniers on the setup in his first NHL game.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of this over the next couple of years. You love this play. Just a little no-look or zipper through the seam like that. Ryan Donato's not going to miss.
Watch them work on the power play a little bit this morning, and obviously the first opportunity to see Beniers in a spot, and obviously a huge goal for Seattle to get on the board first, but it would be a Flames power play marker that would change the tide a little bit here. Actually, this was the even strength one. Matthew Tkachuk scores on the redirect, but beautiful patience here by Noah Hanifin.
Yeah, you gotta love the shooting mentality that's coming from the blue line right now, and we saw it the other night in Seattle. Noah Hanifin doing it a couple of different ways tonight, but getting pucks to the net, especially in that first period when things weren't getting easy. Simplify, make plays happen by creating some chaos.
No question about it. In the second period, though, it would be all Seattle, and they would take advantage of some zone time in the defensive zone of the Calgary Flames. Victor Rask scores his 7th of the season here, alone in the slot.
And this is sort of what was giving the Flames trouble through the first 40 minutes. These little puck battles, and when they ended up losing them, Seattle with some really quick puck movement. That's kind of what they're known for. They work really hard, but have sort of lacked the finish this year. Not this time off the stick of Rask.
And it would continue. This was after a Calgary Flames power play opportunity, one in which they had a few different looks from both units. Instead, they could not score, and Adam Larsson is able to find one. It squeezes through the pads of Jacob Markstrom, kind of joining the rush late, and ends up scoring that one, his 7th.
Yeah, and we were watching this one unfold. Really tough play for Chris Tanev and Nikita Zadorov. Sort of forced to back in a little bit because some of the forwards got trapped up ice. Gave Adam Larsson the opportunity to step up and get involved in the rush.
To the third period we go, 3-1 as we mentioned, but here is where the tide changed, and it starts on a 4-on-3 power play opportunity. The Calgary Flames work it around, and inevitably it is Matthew Tkachuk getting the benefit of a redirect. It goes off the shin pad and right back to him to the back of the net.
We were watching the game and wondering, okay, how's it going to go down? Snipe top shelf, maybe a little pass across the goal mouth. You know what? Maybe a little bit fortuitous there, but we'll take it. And you know what? It was worth the wait. Unbelievable scene here and a great shot of his parents celebrating. They're in town. Johnny said they're probably not going to leave until he leaves at the end of the season.
Reaction is sensational. There's Guy and Jane Gaudreau and Meredith as well, awesome. And that's fantastic stuff in the crowd there. They see point number 100. But more importantly, the momentum-changing game a little bit, and another power play opportunity, and this time it's made up mostly of the second unit. Gaudreau's still out there, but Andrew Mangiapane scores it in front of the net, and big goal for the Calgary Flames.
Absolutely. You know, this came at a point, too. Johnny gets that 100th point. This building's rocking. Just moments before, by the way, Dan Vladaru came in, makes a massive save off Carson Kuhlman. So the tide totally turned. Building was just electric at this point.
That one again was even strength. This is the power play marker with the second unit on, and Michael Stone, he was the beneficiary of the tee put on by Noah Hannafin on Saturday, and it exchanged hands this time.
Everybody expecting Michael Stone to lean into that one. I think he fooled everybody, so he puts it there on the platter for Hannafin. Like we said, doing it in different ways, and I don't know if we've seen a shot like that from him this season. Impressive stuff.
Absolutely well executed, maybe taken a little bit from Michael Stone the other night, and maybe one of the more quieter hat tricks that you'll see in an NHL game as Matthew Tkachuk puts the icing on the cake there into the empty net. Another point for Johnny Gaudreau, 101. And more importantly, a 5-3 victory for the Flames.
101, that's a pretty good number. I don't know if we expected that coming in, but that's awesome to see. Yeah. You see the reaction from the teammates. To me, that's what stands out on a night like this. We knew coming into the homestand that it was only a matter of time for Johnny to get it, and obviously Matthew Tkachuk playing such a pivotal role in it. Sure. But to see the reaction from all three guys on the ice as it happened, the bench, the fans, you know, I think some of us were hoping it wouldn't happen in Seattle to sort of set up the drama that we got here tonight, and it was absolutely worth the wait.
Yeah, well worth it. Fantastic from Matthew Tkachuk, the hat trick on this evening. Johnny Gaudreau, point 101 as well. Let's get some first reaction here from this victory. Let's hear from head coach Daryl Sutter now.
Daryl, how do you look at that game as a whole, and then was there a difference in the third period, or how did you see that all play out?
Well, it's 2-1 late in the second, and you know, we missed those chances on the power play, and they come right back, score, make it 3-1. So need something to jumpstart a little bit.
What went into the decision to have Dan come in the third period?
Just thought it might give us a little life.
Is it kind of similar to what he did in Dallas, I guess, a couple months ago, that last comeback one of the season?
Yeah, I just thought it was a different game, but I just thought it was change the lines around and change the goalie.
You never want to be down in a game, obviously, but is it nice at least to know your team can kind of come out of those situations at this point in the season?
Well, you got to win third periods. I mean, that's not always going to be great, but you got to try and win the third period. Win third period, you can win hockey games.
Pretty happy for Johnny Gaudreau to get the 100 points out of the way?
Yeah, it's good to get off his back. Probably would say it, but it's probably in the back of his mind, so hopefully he's got about 20 more in him.
Noah's got 13 points in his last 10 games. What's he been doing so differently as of late?
Not much different. Noah's a guy that's got to play with confidence, and he's a good competitor, skates really well, and he does that stuff. Those two guys are having really good seasons, so it's not about points.
You've talked about him a lot, Daryl, but just because of this game and what happened with Johnny, how would you put it towards the season he's had?
I think he's been really consistent. I think there's nights where he's, I think the line or the three of them have been off a little bit lately, but I think Johnny's been pretty solid. But I think if you looked this whole season, he's been a consistent player, which, that comes with experience and, trusting how he can play and be successful, I think.
Did you notice a consistent game for Matthew Tkachuk tonight?
No, we had to switch those lines around, so there's a lot of guys that were just a little off. It's tough. The toughest part, it's like I told players before the game, tough to win back-to-back in this league, and it's very, very hard to sweep a division series. And that's what was going on tonight. They weren't guaranteed. They talked about that too. They weren't going to get swept in a series, and so you had to fight through that.
You were talking about the 100 points this morning, and players you've coached in your career that have gotten to 100 points. Like, how difficult is it in this day and age to get 100 points?
Well, it's not as difficult as it used to be because there used to be just ties. 80 points used to make the playoffs. I mean, number of games you played was what made the playoffs. But now only half the teams make the playoffs, and there's extra points. So, 100 points is playing what, like 6-10%, something like that. So, it just tells you that how hard it is.
For a player to get 100 points.
What do you mean, as a player?
Yeah.
I don't care. Does that win the scoring race? I don't know. Does that win the Stanley Cup? I'd rather have the guys that win the scoring race in the playoffs. I mean, I doubt if guys like that have a bonus for that now. I don't think they can.
I was talking to Guy Gaudreau this morning, and he was explaining that.
I only talk about players' points. It's really irritating. I mean, if we lost 5-4 tonight, if you asked that question, I just said, big deal.
I was talking to Guy Gaudreau this morning, and he was saying that he sees a lot of himself in you. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to him at all. Like
Who, Mr. Goodrow?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, yeah, I
Gaudreau.
talked to him lots. I tried to get him to come on the ice with us in Philadelphia, but COVID, and you couldn't. I was going to get him to run practice. So he just stood on the bench, hollered at everybody. He'd be a great coach.
He grew up on a farm too. Did you know that?
Yeah, well, yes, I know more about him than you do.
Yeah, you do. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, there's some thoughts from head coach Daryl Sutter, obviously wide-ranging and a number on Johnny Gaudreau as well, which is where we'll continue the post-game show here because why not? It was talked about this morning, 99 points just a couple of years ago, 2018, 2019, and even though he said, what's the difference, it's one more point, I think there is a little bit of significance here when you talk about getting to that century mark for the first time in your career. What did you see tonight from number 13 and how he got it done?
Doing what he does all the time, right? He makes offense happen because he's willing to go to the areas to create offense. And we saw it in that third period. It started on that power play when he started dangling and pump fakes and starting to get the defenders guessing. When you're, like you said it, he's a wizard with the puck. And when you're kind of making plays happen like that, you're getting the defenders to back in and give you the space and try to keep you honest a little bit out there. So for him to have a night like that, and I think Daryl said it there, you kind of get the monkey off your back a little bit. The game seemed to come a little bit easier after that point too, so it was really cool to see.
And the reaction shots from Mom and Dad and Meredith in here are fantastic as we go along. There was some pretty good looks, and he mentioned that power play, and a big turning point in this hockey game. And at one point they could have tied it, and it was Larson that scores, but then here's the moment that does it. By the way, I noticed they changed chairs. I'm not sure if that was a superstition
That's gotta
thing.
be, absolutely.
There was a little musical chairs act there. He was on the other side. So maybe that was part of the secret here in the third period. Either way, the high fives go all around. That was sensational stuff, and great to see Guy and Jane in the house here for a moment like that for their son. And obviously he gets the 100. He gets 101 tonight as well. Matthew Tkachuk plays a big role in that as well. They exchange the hugs and now exchanging words behind the podium. Let's hear from the man of the hour, Johnny Gaudreau, as well as his line mate and friend, Matthew Tkachuk.
How's it feel to get to 100 plus?
It's cool. That was an exciting game. Didn't think it was going to come there for a little bit, but I just made a little pass down to Chucky and tried to go seam to Lindy. It bounced right back to him, and he fired in the net. So it was a big one for us.
I imagine it means a whole lot more to you to get that milestone on a night when you guys have a big win.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think we didn't play very well in the first two periods. It's hard to play against teams sometimes when they're out of playoffs. They play so freely, and it was tough for us, I think, in the first two periods. But I think we battled back there in the third. I think big power play goal, Manji big goal to tie the game up, and then Hanny's been playing really well for us. Got the game winner. So, and then obviously Chucky, three goals there for us. So it was a big team win.
Your thoughts when his 100th went in? I know there was a nice team celebration there.
Yeah, it was cool. I think that I know us as line mates and teammates would be lying to you if we said we weren't trying to get it for him and thinking about it. For most of the last couple of games when sitting at 99. So it's pretty cool to be linked to that with him. So that's very cool for me, and it just speaks to the year he's having. And we're not done yet, but it's pretty cool for him to get it. Very cool for him to get it now. It's not many guys can say that they hit 100. So proud to be part of his team and playing with him most of the year. It was cool to see firsthand.
Matt, can you just put into perspective for us how hard it is to get 100 points in the NHL?
I've never gotten it, never even come close. So it's, he's been knocking at the door for a couple years, and I remember him saying a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago that the year he sat on 99, it wasn't the best feeling after that. So it was very hard. I mean, you see a couple guys a year, maybe. So, it's pretty cool.
I saw your reaction.
All right, there was some reaction from Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau, so we had to bring in the Gaudreaus because you guys came all the way, and I know you're spending some time here. We got to see the reactions as it went through, but Jane and Guy, no introduction necessary, but congratulations, because that's part of it, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What's it like to be here for a moment like this here tonight?
Well, for us, it's just nice to get back to Calgary. For 2 years, we haven't been here, and we've watched our son and the team on TV, which is fine, but it's not the same as being here at the Dome, the red jerseys, and people going crazy. It's like, when he's got his 100th point, people are high-fiving me and like, oh, wow, this is great. I'm having fun here. So, anyways, it was good.
It was,
yeah.
We have to talk about the superstition. Brendan, you pointed out you guys switched seats at some point during the game. Like, what happened there?
Yeah, well, when we first sat down, we were sitting, and I think I was in 13 first, and then the second period, then Meredith went into the 13th, and then the third one we were like, Guy, and of course, it's Guy, because...
Here we go.
I'm the man. Right, John? Who's the boss? Who runs the show around here? Love you.
First off, get back to your interview. We're going to give him some spotlight. Maybe just, you guys talked over 2 years, but as you start going in through all these situations and being part of this, you guys spent some time together at the All-Star game, but how special when you know that you could share these types of moments here together, and not just the 100, but the fact you're playing in the National Hockey League, and you kind of take that for granted sometimes, but just to be able to share it as a family.
Yeah, we don't take anything for granted, for the fact that he's been here for 8 years and he's had some good teams, but as I watch the team play this year, they're really well coached. A coach that runs it as dictatorship, like it's my way or no other way, right? And that's the way a team should be coached. And
that's the way he coaches, so that's why.
That's what we've been.
If anyone's listened to this, any of his past players are like,
player would say the same thing.
Johnny said that's why he's successful, right? Because he had you as a coach.
Like Daryl's done a great job with his team, right? And my son, flourished with that kind of coaching, and he's been playing with extremely good players. So I mean, you can say he's got 100 points or whatever, but without Lindholm and Tkachuk, he wouldn't be where he's at right now. So we all know that.
You see some of the similarities there too, then, is that between Daryl and Guy?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I got one for you, because Johnny was saying this morning that I don't know how long you plan on be here, a couple of weeks, but he said you won't be leaving until he leaves. Is that true?
I'm here for 2 weeks, and Jane leaves, and Sunday she leaves, so she has to go back to work. Oh. I'm retired. I'll let her work.
So I'm gonna miss a lot.
I'm older. She's younger. That works that way.
You missed it here, Daryl. Just as he was wrapping up, he said you'd be a great head coach. He had you, remember, in Philadelphia, and behind the bench. Maybe that's a nice compliment.
I went in the locker room and I had a couple words with some of the boys, tell them how bad they're playing. He laughed. He thought it was funny, but he's a lot like I am. Hard nosed, and I play my way, or I don't care. Like parents. I've coached a lot of kids, and parents want to complain. So you can complain all you want. I'll coach the way I want to coach. It's my way or no way at all.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Sometimes I'm sitting there going, like, down in the seat, like, oh my gosh, like, who is this guy?
The funniest thing about the whole thing is, like, when Daryl was hired as head coach, people were like talking, Johnny Gaudreau and him not going to mix. I'm like, says to my wife, it's a perfect mix for my son. Perfect mix for me.
And I think we've seen that. I'm going to play it, sorry, just before we let you guys go, because I know you want to go share some moments with Johnny here as well. But we've got the reactions, and I just want to see, maybe we could talk through some of this stuff, is because you're watching these chances, and there were some good looks throughout this game. The power play, a couple opportunities, but here's the opportunities we saw, and this is the one. This is your reaction, so maybe just take us through what you're feeling here.
Well, you know, I remember 8 years ago, we were in Philadelphia, and you know, Craig Conroy was there. We signed a contract, fly to Calgary, middle of the night, then go to Vancouver to play the first game. And I was like the most nervous I've ever been. And I watched him play his first game. They lost 5-1, but I watched him skate. I'm like, you know what? He can play here. You know, I was really like, wow. You know, I was surprised he was going to be able to, you know, have a chance. So it was good. But, you know, to be where he's at now, I never thought that.
8 years tomorrow, right? That's, I think, where we're at. So wild,
yeah. It's been 8 years in Calgary.
Gene, what do you think when you see that, the highlights there? What are you thinking about as you embrace, and Meredith obviously there as well?
Yeah, we were just so proud. I mean, I'm glad we got it over with the first day of our first game, so then we know. Although my daughter's flying in on Thursday, and she's going to be a little disappointed it didn't happen on her day, but that's okay. I'm sure she's still happy. She was texting us. She goes, "Yay!" So that was good. Yeah. So the whole family was back home watching.
Well, listen, thanks so much, guys. It's always great to have you in the building, and then obviously to celebrate on a night like tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching you guys. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Right.
All right, there's Jade and Guy. We'll let you guys go. You guys got some catching up to do. Johnny's waiting for us. Yeah. Johnny Gaudreau, 100 points here tonight on the season. There's Jade and Guy. Great of them to stop by. I know we kind of dragged them out here, but
there was a bit of yelling down the hall, but hey, it worked.
It's part of it. It's live TV. We're embracing the moments here in the Scotiabank Saddledome. Obviously, a huge win too for the Calgary Flames, 5-3. I don't know where we go from that. We put a wrap on this thing? Or?
I think we have to, but how can we top that? That was sensational, right?
Yeah, and listen, more reaction to come on Flames TV as the week goes along. Obviously, Calgary Flames up to 99 points on the season. By the way, just the 10th time in franchise history for 45 wins in a year. So obviously, these are huge points along the way. And maybe actually, if you have the out-of-town these standings, maybe we update that, guys, before we sign off here tonight. And Vegas Golden Knights are coming up here on Thursday night. But if we can just take a quick peek at the Pacific Division and Western Conference standings, good to do because obviously it was a huge night across the National Hockey League, busy slate of games. There was some wins, some losses for some key teams. Edmonton Falls in Minnesota. So now the gap at the top of the Pacific Division is up to 9 points. And I believe the game in Vegas is still Vegas in Vancouver. That was in favor of the Canucks. I don't know where we're at on that, guys. 4-2 Canucks still in the third period. So Vegas has some work to do there to keep pace, and obviously they'll be here on Thursday. Yeah, it's just running out of runway, some of those teams. You're looking at it now, and it's so difficult in the three-point era. And we were talking about this over the course of the game, too. The differential in schedule right now, some teams are getting a whole lot of playoff teams. It's making climbing the standings a very difficult task. The Calgary Flames in the middle of a stretch right now where they actually get to play a few non-playoff teams consecutively. So it's sort of an opportunity where you're starting to see how things are going to fall. Teams are starting to position themselves and not move too much in where they are at this point. Yeah, well said, and it'll be an interesting final couple of weeks here. Calgary Flames with 2 more games left on this 3-game homestand before they head back out on the road. As for us, it'll be right back here at the Dome against the Vegas Golden Knights, their final head-to-head meeting of the regular season, and obviously some massive implications in terms of the playoffs in that game as well. Thanks for watching Flames Post Game Live, and as we sign off tonight, a shout-out to Johnny Gaudreau, still chatting with his parents here behind us, but point number 100 for the first time in his NHL career sits at 101, right there at the top of the National Hockey League in terms of leading scorers. But to Johnny Gaudreau here tonight, and the century mark for the first time in his career.
It's not bad. Watch the other way. Here comes Coleman with a partial break. Scores! Calgary building momentum. It's Gaudreau. Front door deflection. Stop. And at the line, it's in.
Trying to wind it out. Gaudreau. Nice play. And here he comes with the Jets on. Racing in. Fires. He scores.
Yes, Lindor going to the goal. Gaudreau takes a look. Shoots. Score.
A nice move on the backhand. And it's in the net. Reed looking to add to it. What a beautiful goal.
Down the boards to Gaudreau. Noah Hannafin takes a look. Shoots. Deflected. They score. Dylan puts it around, but it's picked off. Played in front. They score. Sneaked in like the shot. Here's Gaudreau. Scores. Gaudreau scores.
Gaudreau into the far corner. Will back it up. Anderson with a shot. It bounces around. They score.
Flames. Gaudreau leads the charge. He shoots. He scored. Oh, what a pass. Gets the puck back, though. Another chance. Gaudreau, Tkachuk. What a goal! And away goes Johnny Gaudreau. He'll work it into the line. Gaudreau makes a move to the backhand. Back in front. They score!
Johnny Gaudreau tees it up, and he scores the overtime winner.
Gaudreau takes a look. Side of the goal. Back in front. Scores! Back to his partner, who springs Gaudreau. Gaudreau drops it. Lindholm in, shoots, and scores! Puts it in front, intercepted. And now Gaudreau takes control. Flips it in for Toffoli. Connor Toffoli has a step. Right in! Scores! See what Gaudreau does. Steps in, shoots, and scores! Here's Johnny Gaudreau. Passing Tkachuk. Scores! Pass to Connor. Flame steal. Here's Gaudreau. Gaudreau turning to the forehand. Puts it in front. They score! Here is Johnny Gaudreau.
He's one up and he scores! Johnny Gaudreau, the overtime hero.
Johnny Gaudreau with Lindholm. Lindholm scores! Lindholm to Gaudreau. He's got a break. He deeks, shoots, scores! Zalewski saved. Toffoli can't shoot. Banked in by Gaudreau. Zalewski with the save. Gaudreau banks it in again. He does it again. Gaudreau scores! Hat trick, Johnny Gaudreau! Puts it in front. Here's a chance. They score! Johnny Gaudreau steps in, shoots, and scores!
Now it's off to the races for Johnny Gaudreau. Twisting. He's on the backhand. Johnny Gaudreau trying to go. Here's a pass. And Shillington scores! Pass in front. Gaudreau. Shot. Goal!
It's into traffic. In his own man. He's going to the rebound.
Off to the races. He shoots. He scores!
Now he has the puck out to Gaudreau. Gets it ahead for Lindholm. Makes a little move. Another one. Throws it in front. And Lindholm scores. Tkachuk trying to get it in front. Scores! Matthew Tkachuk. And